Hey there, folks. I am here in Salem, Oregon, as Osprey flies overhead. And I'm next to the water here. There's a little slough that's going by. Look, there's a sunbow up there. Anyway, it's an interesting time to be alive here in the United States of America. And the water is under attack. There goes some garbage floating by in the water right now, speaking of. So the garbage is showing up in the waters everywhere. And basically I just put this live stream together because I'm here in Salem, Oregon, where the Proud Boys are showing up at the Salem Library. So as you can imagine, the Antifa is responding. There's a large Antifa presence that I already have seen here. I've seen a few of the fascists entering the building, and obviously there's a large law enforcement presence, just largely due to the proximity of this event. So here is police department. See, they have all their gear lined up. I think this is the sorry about that. This might be where the pig pen actually is. So I'm not 100% on that, but I think this is where pigs live. So there's a whole bunch of cop cars and SWAT vehicles, and this is City Hall. So there's bound to be just about every variety of law enforcement you can imagine, whether it's sheriff's department, the city police, the state police. You can see this is an emergency vehicle they use to respond when they have to bring in a whole SWAT team. So that's a SWAT vehicle, or a riot vehicle. This vehicle, it's equipped with the foot rail there so people can stand on it. It's got that little guard next to the wheel well, which is useful in case you're a fat ass pig and you get your foot stuck in there. And then it's also got the handrails. So it's probably has extra weight also, so it doesn't flip over. And then over here, the Salem police have a rescue vehicle, likely equipped with sound cannons, potentially water cannons. You can see that rail there on the top of it. The rails, they use those for putting equipment on. So if they have to, whether it's a secondary, like a breach equipment or something of that effect that they want to put on their heavy gear. So anyway, here, this is City Hall. You can see the city of Salem values diversity. City Hall is flying these rainbow peace flags with different languages on the public building. So it's very obvious the city values diversity. And this is where I saw this is the public library. And so the public library here is where the alt-right is, or Proud Boys, sorry. If you're alt-right, I'm sorry to confuse you with Proud Boys. All you white motherfuckers look alike to me. Sorry, but that's just the way it is. So this is the Salem Public Library where the Proud Boys are having their event. And, I don't really appreciate that type of mentality that they're bringing. I'm for inclusiveness, and I'm against any type of gathering that, I don't know how to say it in a polite way. There's no polite way to say it. The Proud Boys represent intolerance and hate. They represent xenophobic violence. And it's just a horrible type of person to be. I don't understand what type of parents they must have had to be taught that that was okay, but it's really not an okay way to be, in my opinion. So the event is happening here at the Salem Public Library, and I think it already kicked off at 1 o'clock. So again, I did see the counter protesters around to the back, so I'm gonna head over in that direction here. And I don't know how much you folks live stream events, but when you're live streaming an event of anti-fascists versus fascists, you know, this is my opinion, don't put your comrade's face on the video. It's rude. So, you know, once I get over here, if there are in fact anti-fascists, which I saw them earlier, then I'm not going to be pointing the camera at their heads or at their faces, or maybe not even at their feet. We'll see how they feel, but for the most part, I try and leave people out of the lens who might feel uncomfortable receiving attention based on the type of event that they're at. So somewhere in this building is the Proud Boys gathering. And then let's just see. Pretty sure that right around here somewhere is the anti-fascists. Okay, all right, turn the camera around. I just saw the first goon. I'll show you guys. There's this goon up here. He's got the drop on whoever's down below him. Okay. There's probably more goons up on the high, but yeah, there's quite a few goons over here. Alright, so there's the one up there on top of the building. But then there's all these goons over here in the street. So you can see it's a pretty heavy goon presence. And then so these guys in the yellow crest with a yellow emblem on their chest, those guys are the Northwest Proud Boys, I believe. So you can see there's pretty heavy police presence here. It looks like, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 squads right down here in the open. Where they probably have a similar number of squads somewhere nearby. They might be in that area that I showed you guys before.
That's kind of the reason why, like, someone might like with
So they're having some sort of a meeting here. They're having a Proud Boys meeting. Is that what it is? You don't know? No comment. Is it a Proud Boys meeting? Is that what it is? I wasn't invited. I just was curious. So none of my business what it is. You guys don't have any comment? You know what it is? What kind of event it is?
It's just 2 different groups that oppose each other.
Okay.
We don't know exactly what they're talking about in there.
Okay. Well, for whatever it's worth, thanks for showing up.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So looks like these guys are not in the heavy armor, so it's good. Hopefully not necessary. So again, the Proud Boys just said they didn't really want to say what was going on. Police are saying they don't really know what's going on. Two groups that oppose each other. So looks like something's going on over here.
You know my address? Oh, no. You put it up, dude. I didn't put Oregon State Police threw you to the ground when you fucking started it.
I didn't put anything up and I didn't start anything.
You did. We're not getting anywhere with you.
No, dude.
You already know.
So on any other day, that type of altercation, you know, a verbal altercation like that would be considered verbal assault. You know, what's going on is, in essence, verbal assault. Like, assault really is when you cause somebody to fear. And you know, all these law enforcement officers know what the definition of assault is, and yet they're not pursuing any charges against people who are clearly committing assault. So it's kind of an intense situation from law enforcement vantage point, because they have to figure out how to not charge people with assault when there's an assault happening. So verbal assault is very similar in law context to nonverbal assault, or you know, so again, for the most part, these folks are not armored up. The police are they're what I would consider light infantry at this point. Heavy infantry is more shin pads, elbow pads, helmets, shields, batons. None of these guys have that stuff. So, you know, they might be wearing it below their regular gear. It doesn't look like it, but basically it's light infantry for police today. So again, what the police are saying, or what the Proud Boys are saying, is it's invite only. And I guess the police are here to enforce that. But when I first got here, there was a little old lady that was in a wheelchair. So, you know, the public is in and out here, and they're trying to figure out how to just have a regular day at the library. Meanwhile, there's an actual hate group. That the Proud Boys Northwest is a hate group. They're known for terroristic threats and violence. Like, they actually have a record of assaulting people. So there's pretty heavy police presence patrolling. My guess is that there's also a heavy, both fascist and anti-fascist patrol. And then over here you have what's pretty clearly one of the fascists' vehicles. So the meeting of the fascists is happening right here in the Salem Public Library. That's the level of fascism that the United States is at currently. So you can see here, this is the stuff that you use when you're in a melee. There's all the helmets and the batons and everything that you use to fight people with. So head back over here where all the people are. So basically at this point, whatever kind of gathering is going on inside of there, then you have the heavies, or the guys who are willing to take charges, out here in the front. Like, these are basically the guys who are willing to get charges. And then you have law enforcement that you can see they're doing their best to keep a distance. Like, these guys are standing apart from it.
Why don't you tell them to get out of here? It's a rapist. Bro! Are you serious? You are really gross. You're a rapist. Wow.
What's up?
Hey, where are you here? About?
So you can see, like, the Salem police are really doing their best to stay out of the center of it. The citizen is unsure of whether they're allowed to enter the library right now. So it's obviously like it's not an active battle zone in the colloquial terms or the terms of military engagement, but this is just like one small step away from a military engagement. It's basically a civil war. So, you know, on the one side of the civil war, it's going to be the extremists, right-wing militants, and then the other people who are engaged in civil war are more tolerant, that are inclusive. So
Yo, Native American savages, those three creatures, the left side, the hate Indians, right? They're not Christians. They're not Christians. Those hate creatures, no, Native American savages, that's some racist ass shit. And you all let them come with y'all. I would like to cheer not in any frames. You did tell me you like free speech. It wouldn't fucking matter.
the one guy just said they don't have anything to do with hatred right after their guy said called the indigenous people in the crowd savages. It's amazing how they can like directly contradict themselves in the same breath.
Heaven is full of you guys. We'll go to hell. Jesus.
All right, guys. You know, hey,
I'm Alex.
how's it going?
What's your name?
I have a name.
What is it?
That's all right. I'm not really interested in meeting people, making
Okay.
friends. But
I'm not trying to make
thanks.
friends. I'm just trying to get names.
I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
Can I ask which side you're
America's side.
Oh, so the white national side?
You know,
That's a yes.
the people of this country
The fact that you didn't defend white nationalism, that's a yes.
the people of this country, we're not defined by white nationalism.
So, did you serve?
I'm not interested in answering questions
So you
today,
didn't serve in
Alex.
the military?
I'm not answering.
You didn't serve
any-
in the military.
I'm
I
sure.
did.
I'm sure you have something better to do with your time.
I did 8 years defending this fucking country. What did you do?
I was born a Native American,
Yeah.
and that's all the more questions I need to answer
So
to
you
you.
definitely didn't
That's
serve.
all the
You were too much of
more.
a little bitch to serve.
That's all the more that I need to answer to you.
You're a little bitch
Because
to serve.
because
You
you
become
because
tough,
your
guys.
because your problem is a lot deeper
What's
than
my problem?
your problem is a lot
What's my
deep.
problem?
Your
Tell me
problem
my
is a
problem.
lot deeper than any
my
kind
problem?
of answer I could give
Tell
you.
me my problem.
I could never answer you.
Yeah, because you didn't even serve. You're a little bitch.
Because you can't answer questions for people like this.
You
If
can't
there's
answer for
no,
yourself?
There's no
You're not a
reason
man,
for
you
me to
can't
there's
answer
no
for yourself?
reason for me to
What's
answer
up,
your
bro?
questions.
You can't answer for yourself. You're too much of a little bitch to
This
answer for yourself.
this guy is verbally assaulting me. This guy is verbally assaulting me. I'm the press, and this guy is verbally assaulting me.
Hello.
I'm standing over here away from the conflict to document it, and I'm being verbally assaulted by this guy.
I just asked your name.
I'm being verbally assaulted by this guy.
Cops to hide again. The lady doing that in the library.
I'm the media, and I'm here being verbally assaulted by this
I
guy.
also have a phone.
What's going on?
I'm trying to document this scene, and he's verbally assaulting me.
How is he verbally assaulting you?
I just asked your name and I
By
asked you, sir.
intimidating me and shouting in my face and threatening me that if I postured anything like that at you guys, it would be assault. That's the only.
Here's the issue we have here. This is a public place. You guys can both be here.
I don't want to
You
be
have the
verbally
freedom of speech.
assaulted.
You guys can speak.
I don't want to be verbally assaulted.
It's free speech. You're allowed to
But I don't want to be verbally assaulted.
But nothing you're saying right now is a crime. So
No.
you can be here.
But
if you
I don't
want.
want to be verbally assaulted. Is that okay?
I'm trying to explain to you. That you can be here, or you can move somewhere
Is
else. Either one's up to
is
you.
it is it is it okay for me to ask not to be verbally assaulted?
You can ask that, yes,
Okay.
but there's nothing I can do about
Okay,
him
is
saying
verbal
something.
assault a crime, officer?
I'm
Verbal
saying-
assault is not a crime? So at the level
What you have described to me is not a crime.
at the level of chest bumping, is that a crime?
It depends.
Okay. Well, I'm just trying to document the scene,
Okay.
and I don't want
You
to
can
be
do that.
I don't want to be verbally assaulted.
We'll keep an eye.
I
Make
don't
sure
I don't
that
want to be verbally assaulted by this guy.
We'll keep an eye on you guys. Make sure no crime happens.
So I'm trying to stand away from him
Okay.
now.
Sounds good.
I was
Thank
trying
you.
to stand away from him before,
Perfect.
and he started following me around.
Thank you. I
So
appreciate you giving me
so
some
at what
space.
point does it become stalking?
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
At what point does it become stalking? Because I walked away from him. I'm walking away from him, so if he follows me and pursues me after I walk away from him. Okay, all right. I'm just trying to figure it out because I don't want to commit any crimes. I'm trying to stand away from him.
Okay.
All right.
Are you talking to me?
No, I'm talking to this camera.
Oh, okay.
He's still harassing me. Okay, all right. I turned my back on him and walked away, and he's still harassing me. Okay, all right. I'm trying to. I don't want to do anything wrong here. I'm just trying to document what's happening. All right. I'm not trying to commit any crimes. I'm just trying to be safe. You know what's interesting about that whole exchange is that if I treated one of the law enforcement officers in that way, it would definitely be assault. These guys over here are a hate group, and they're having a meeting inside of the library.
The hate group is having a meeting inside the library?
And those guys over there think hating people is wrong.
So it's a protest.
Well, these guys are protesting, and then those guys, I think they're organizing hate crimes, is my guess. Because they're violent, like they're actually known for violently attacking people.
So is it safe to go inside?
I think so, because there's plenty of police here, and police never let violence happen. I think it's safe to go inside. I think these guys would definitely make sure if anything bad was happening, they would stop it. So
I think I'm going to go ask them if it's safe to go inside.
I think it is. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
So again, typically in these situations, you know, what happens is that there is a squad of guys somewhere right around, and that squad will be the heavies, and they'll have full battle gear with like armor and batons and pepper spray and all that sort of thing. But since this is right where the police department is, then I don't think they even have to deploy. They're probably just sitting around right inside the police department in case they need to get called out. But it seems like things are pretty calm. There's really not much tension. The people who are here are for the most part standing apart from each other, and law enforcement's giving them a lot of space to kind of hold their free speech. I'm not sure if you saw that before, but that's what basically they were saying when that one guy came up and was verbally assaulting me, is that he's just exercising his free speech. So so they're giving a lot of space for the protest and the counter-protest, or more accurately for the fascists and the anti-fascists. So So just come around here for a different vantage point, since they have this beautiful stairway here. May as well put it to use. So what's going on here is that you have the Salem Library, and inside of the Salem Library you have the Proud Boys. And so the Proud Boys, they want their freedom of speech. They think that hatred is a good value. And then you have law enforcement who are holding space for them, you know. And then you also have, that's I guess so that's where command is up above. They want to be above also. But then you also have the anti-fascists. So you can see I've cleverly positioned myself so I can show you the back of the anti-fascists without having to show you the front of the anti-fascists. But there's, I would say, maybe 20 anti-fascists. I'm not really sure how many fascists there are. This guy here is one of their heavies. It looks like most of the contingency went inside, but you can see kind of the body armored security. These are the security guys. And you know, they're kind of, what's going on more or less is that a couple of the Proud Boys every few minutes will go out here to the roadside, smoke a cigarette, hang out, be hate-filled, and then they come back over here and, you know, talk with some more of their, like, we don't like immigrants. We're anti, whatever. I'm not really sure what people who eat that much mayonnaise have to say, but they kind of are going back and forth. And then you have the contingencies of law enforcement that they're standing in between in case anybody decides to get violent. But I can tell you, none of these people have weapons. There's 0 weapons here. As far as the anti-fascist side goes, there's no weapons. So, like, that's one of the things that I look at. I just realized I didn't think about it until just now, but I look at that when I come into one of these scenes. And if you look at the anti-fascists, none of them are carrying weapons. They don't have any flags, they don't have any flagpoles, they don't have any sticks or batons or any kind of weapons at all. So, if you contrast that with the other guys, then a bunch of the other guys actually are carrying heavy gloves, is what I saw, which heavy gloves are in essence a, brass knuckles. That's what a heavy glove is. A heavy glove is a brass knuckle. So, you use a heavy glove when you want to punch somebody. And, I'll tell you what, though, Salem is beautiful. It's really a sad thing to see anti-fascists having to stand up like this against this blight on Salem. Like, Salem is such a nice place. Really sickening that there are Nazis here. Here come a couple of the Proud Boy event attendees. These are people who were invited. Not really sure who they are, but they seem pretty smug. I think that this dude is the important dude, and that dude is his bodyguard. So you got
Did you see this?
important dude, bodyguard. Oh yeah, so apparently he's well known. But it's kind of a intense scene, like folks on the fascist side really feel like they're right, and it's hard to understand that for me. I don't understand how hate and intolerance can be justified. And again, I don't understand how law enforcement can stand by for it. It seems like it would be their job to intervene, disband and break up hate groups, but the Ku Klux Klan was also protected by law enforcement. Like, the Ku Klux Klan seems like they would have been broken up, but the Klan never got broken up, so I guess it makes sense that the Proud Boys wouldn't get broken up. Take a look at what you guys are saying. Yeah, the cops are definitely on the side. They're not really intervening, they're just standing by. It might be the first time that they have been in the library. You are correct. You know what is just absolutely shocking to me about this whole scene is really on both the side of law enforcement and the side of the fascists. and the side of the anti-fascists. There's dramatic disparity of ethnicities. Like, there's only a few people of color anywhere. Interesting times to be alive.
Yeah, not great.
Yeah. Arguably, though, I think every generation has said that, and then at the same time said, well, hopefully the young people will make it better.
I was in Washington in '72, so I remember it well. I have a lot of respect for what you guys are doing.
You know what's interesting about modern times in comparison is how small the resistance is, in my estimation. Like, the marches that you see on TV are like these epic things in the 70s, and
You know, there's a lot of apathy in phones. And distractions, and it's sad.
yeah.
It's sad. My daughter, who's 35, doesn't have a clue. Not one, and doesn't care to have a clue.
Move back a little bit. People are jumping off the sidewalk. Right here. So people can walk right here where you're standing.
Why can't they walk on either side of where I'm standing?
Because we're trying to keep the whole path open so they don't have to weave around.
I just am not really good at being micromanaged. I spend a lot of time trying to be free, so then when people micromanage me, I'm like, hey, that's not how I like to be.
Yeah.
I get micromanaged enough by taxes.
And everything else. Yeah, I'm aware of it.
Mind if I ask you what you think of the event or what's taking place?
What I think of the event, I think it's apropos. I think it has to happen. What surprises me is more if this doesn't go on. I'm getting to the age where, it's hard for me to represent, but to see this gives me a little hope. It does. And I appreciate everything you guys are doing.
You mind using your name only if you're comfortable with it?
Where's it going?
YouTube, maybe Salem News. You don't
Peter Brown. It's as simple as it could be.
Names aren't important. I mean,
it's fine.
Some
I
people
can
prefer
give it.
Salem.
I just need to know where.
Yeah. Well, I used to be with Channel 2, and then I started SalemNews.com in '04.
Okay.
And today we have a brand new newspaper coming into Salem called Salem Visionary News. I think I gave away my last name.
That's fine. I'll look for it.
No, I didn't. It'll be in all the coffee shops and so on and so forth. And we're very humanitarian based. My boss just got back from India where he spent a month with this amazing Swami. So he's cool dude.
Focused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he knows what he wants. I appreciate that.
Who's the big white-haired gentleman over here?
Apparently some kind of convicted rapist that hangs out with all these places. And they've screamed that at him over and over, and they asked him if he's ever been convicted of a sex crime, and he did not deny it. They know.
The problem is you have to go at the issue, not the character assassination.
Yes.
It doesn't.
Oh, I agree. It's just yelling back and forth.
Yeah.
Well, the child concentration camps seem like enough of an issue on their own two legs.
Yeah. Well, there are so many issues.
11,000 lies publicly issued through television since he took office.
Climate change. What the fuck's going on in D.C. with that clown in the presidency? There's a lot to look at instead of calling.
Can I show you?
Yeah, you're right.
This is my article from 2015. Trump's grandfather was a pimp and tax evader. His father, a member of the KKK. 2.2 million shares on Facebook.
Yeah.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah.
That's like the...
Well, see, that's the thing we never had in the day, and
I
I wonder
know.
if that impacts the amount of people that come out. Because everybody does everything on social networks.
I know.
And
it's different.
they aren't a presence. And there needs to be more of it.
I started working in media when it was still the AP teletype, and you had to replace the printer, and you had to replace the paper,
Well,
I mean, computers existed, but
I was getting tear gassed in the day.
So good for you, bro.
Well,
I mean, you know what I mean by that.
I know what
Not
you
good
mean.
for you.
Well, it's because we were willing to stand up.
You were. I know. And you stopped the war and did a lot of good things
Thankfully,
that
I
are all
never
being
had
taken
any
away now.
dogs or batons tossed at me, but
Yeah.
we need more of this.
I think it happens. You just don't see it in the media.
Which
Because
is
They ignore
sad.
it. That's
because
right.
because I go to events like this and I see it all across the country. What's actually happening is a civil war, and it's not at the running gun point right now, but I guarantee you that those guys right now, a couple of those guys have weapons. It's probably the guy over there with his hands in his pockets and the other guy over here with his hands under his arms, but a couple of those guys at least have weapons, if not more.
It wouldn't,
Justice and I got into it with the Capitol
surprise
about
me.
3 months ago. Same thing.
They're scary, scary individuals.
Usually,
You can only put your head in the sand for so long.
I mean,
you only can before something has to happen.
Yeah.
You guys want to protest Nazis too?
my family, we're Native American and Russian Jew.
Wow.
So in my family, we're persecuted for existing still.
Oh, absolutely.
Still.
On both
So
lines.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. So like,
Don't think that anti-Semitism is dead just because we're in the 2019. That's just crap.
I don't. They
not-
just shot up
yeah.
a synagogue.
Yeah. it's
I'm in
not
Facebook
dead.
jail currently because I was talking about how it's not cool to shoot up synagogues.
And all I can say on all of that is that, one of the most important things to me today is Palestine, of course.
Yeah.
But-
Well,
but-
see, and I go back and forth because I have always been. I had a buddy who was in 8th grade and he was ready to go fight.
For the idea.
A Jewish buddy. Simply because, back to the wall, where are you going to go?
Well, that's
I
the
don't-
story of the other side, really. I mean,
I don't believe in Zionism. Let's be real
and
clear
that's all,
about
yeah.
that.
And
that's
Israel
different.
and Judaism are
That's
not the same thing.
Yeah, it's
whatsoever.
not the same thing.
Not at all. And
There are a lot of people in Israel that don't believe in Zionism.
well, the Likud party is like more to the right than Trump is. So
yeah, they're
that's
they're
the thing.
hogs.
Yeah.
They're
And it's about land. Everyone knows it's just about land. And,
Well,
and apartheid.
it's
nation,
it's
sets
about
of laws.
land and using that land as buffer zones.
Yeah. And it's
to
about not getting screwed over again, of course. I mean, that's who has more of a right to claim
and,
that.
and in my eyes, nobody.
Yeah.
Well, I would say that the family who's maintained a 1,000-year orchard there, they have a
That's-
certain amount of claim.
Yeah.
It's when they tear out the olive trees.
And that's the issue. How do you deal with two cultures that have been there since the beginning of time? I mean,
Right.
And both have a right to
Well,
be
the-
there.
the-
The thing that pisses me off about Israel is how soon they forget.
Yes.
Just go back to the late 40s. Understand where you were at and how you got to where you are.
Right.
And now you have another nation that you want to keep under your foot.
And,
It's not right.
the founding of Israel was pretty brutal.
Founding
47, 48, all
The
these
founding of
fucked over
Israel
people.
was a stroke of luck.
It's an extension. It's an extension of like all of the so-called progress for generations.
Check these guys out. They're expecting trouble too. Don't give them a reason. I
Yeah.
gotta go, but don't give them a reason.
The viewers think you're a cool dude. That's what they just said on there.
That's very nice. I'm really tired of the bullshit. Tired of the guns.
Yeah. Well, it really is. It's not.
That's the one that really
It's
grips me real hard. I see one more school kid die, and I've got 13 and 15 year olds.
Come on, kids.
I've been just for the past few days because I do a lot of delivery driving. Then I turned on Alex Jones,
Yeah.
and the dog whistles that he's throwing out. They're really pushing Civil War hard, and there's a base of intolerant, violent people in this country that they want that. And that's basically what these guys in the yellow shirts are, is they're the people who are arming up and drilling and preparing and creating their squads and getting used to hating. This is more or less a recruiting event for the fascist hate that they're fomenting.
Everybody's taking pictures of everybody.
Yeah. And then afterwards, then they'll
When
all...
is this thing supposed to be over?
3 o'clock.
Getting that officer's face.
Yeah. Says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sure does. Well, they don't care.
Well, more to the point, they're actually crossover membership, like in Portland, where the fascists are infiltrating all different institutions, whether it's law enforcement, military, education, all kinds of different institutions.
You gotta wonder about that going on.
Well,
You really do.
I mean, it's in Portland, it was apparent. Did you see the scandal with the Portland law enforcement officer texting with these fascists?
Yeah. Got called on it. I don't think he lost his job.
No.
But he should have.
Yeah. Well, it's because it's part of the culture of law enforcement. Honestly, if you remember that guy, Chris Dorner. Chris Dorner was from the LAPD. He filed a report about racial discrimination and how he was being passed over for promotion.
Yeah.
And then they wrote him up and busted him down. And then further fired him and alienated him to the point where he became a vigilante and shot up a bunch of the racists from inside of the police department and wrote a manifesto about it. So there's definitely racists in the police department.
Oh, God. Yeah. That's a given.
So Officer Clark against what is sent on the signs over there.
There are racists everywhere.
Yeah.
Police departments, school boards.
Yeah.
That's the sad part of it.
There's a troll on my thing. I have to go through and block him after this ends.
Uh-oh.
It's funny though
Giving
that
you a hard time.
No, I just barely saw that he was even saying anything right now, but somebody you're in your mom's basement, bro. Quit typing and go eat yourself a popkin. You're gonna feel better.
Yes, the library is open. We're going in and out all the time. Yep. Make sure you can go right through. Yeah.
There's no hinder.
That's okay. You can go about your day or stay, whatever you want to do. But registered complaint, you say.
That is hard to believe they can get people to go in there. That just is really discouraging.
Yeah, it's kind of the state of the nation right now, It's the part that gets to me is that there is this vocal minority, and they will be the ones who carry out the genocide, and there's going to be a silent majority all over again. And that's the part that gets to me, just as a person that my great-grandparents fled the Holocaust, knowing
Is this a Joey? Is that who's here?
I think so, yeah. Gibson?
Yeah.
Yeah, his group is the Northwest Proud Boys. I think they're from Vancouver, Washington.
He's dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he's already, his group has already been outed for having violent people inside of it, people who... That's the thing with the Portland Police Department, not arresting the known violent people inside of the...
every kind of little deal they put up, little coming out thing. There's always violence or pushing or
the part that gets me is that, okay, over here you have the police, right? But somewhere among this 20 people is a secret police officer. one of these people or more than one of them is actually a cop just pretending to be a protester. Oh no, guaranteed. It happens at every protest. And if you look through, you can kind of tell the people who are genuine people from the person who's not a cop or who is a cop. So just looking at this very small group, which one do you think the cop is? It's kind of easy to tell. There's one person in this crowd that looks like a cop. He doesn't have
this guy in the hat.
No. You can tell which one guy is a cop if you look at the crowd really close.
I can't tell.
I can tell.
So who is he?
I think it's the guy who's standing like a cop.
The bald guy?
Because they have body language that's built into them. They get used to it. See, look at all the rest of them. They get into a posture that they're accustomed to, and their body stands like that in a way that they can't just shake it off. You have to train yourself to not stand like that if you're a cop.
What they need to do is infiltrate them.
Oh yeah. Well, they probably do. They probably do. But the people who infiltrate the other side, those are more CIA or DEA or ATF guys.
Right. Federal.
Well, the other way they get inside groups like that is they have a snitch. So they'll have somebody that has charges that they're already in jail, and they're like, look, you're already in jail, so we're going to let you out in like an extra 20 days early. All you have to do is... Yeah, I usually, in a bigger crowd, I go through and look and see who's wearing a bulletproof vest and who has a gun. Because typically, when you put a plainclothes guy into the crowd, then they have to have a gun, they have to have a bulletproof vest.
Yeah.
So you can kind of tell. Yeah, that's another way you can kind of tell is by going through and looking for who's wearing the bulletproof vest. But
All right, well.
It's nice talking with you, brother.
You too. It's great. Hang in there, do the work.
Yeah. So there's really not much going on, guys. If you just tuned in, we have basically what's going on is you have law enforcement, and law enforcement's, they're ready in case they have to rush in, and they're you know what? I bet that's the one official press guy. I bet that guy is with the press, and he's the official press guy, and that's why he's over there with them. He probably, what do you call that? Mainstream media. He's probably mainstream media. And he might be a cop, but I don't think so. And that's why he's over there. And anyway, you got the cops over here and possibly the press. And then you got some more cops over here and some more cops up there. And then I would say there's probably close to 20 anti-fascists. And then inside of the auditorium here, I don't know how many fascists are in there. There's quite a few. So, hey, all right, $1. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Help diffuse the cost of gasoline. That makes a difference. Hell yeah.
No, he's just doing the circle game, guys. Hey, like, what size is your memory card in that phone?
It's kind of intense, a little bit intense. So just walk away here for a minute, show you guys where the riot police vehicle is over here. think there's actual riot police in it, but they have the vehicle right over here, and it's got like the SWAT and everything. So I think it's only here though because this is the City Hall. This is where the police department is, so it makes sense that they would have their equipment here since this is just the City Hall. So over there is the SWAT vehicles. That's where they probably have their batons and shields and you know, armor, heavy armor and all that stuff. It's what you typically have in those type of vehicles. They have probably their sound cannon and their you know, whatever type of emergency equipment that they might need, whether it's baton rounds, beanbag rounds, rubber bullets. Maybe they have taser line, which is like this complex taser cannon thing. Oh look, there's a little woodpecker just flew into the scene here. Anyway, there's the Salem Police Department's little gear depot. And then down here is where the actual bunker is, where they have like all their cars and their Bearcat and everything. I was down there a little bit earlier. So anyway, looks like they sent a little observer to come keep an eye on me. He stopped being interested as soon as I started walking back this way. But made me feel a little bit important that they sent an observer to keep an eye on me. So anyway, it's not super exciting down here, but it is definitely like I don't know how to say it. It's a time in the United States where there are fascists marching in the streets. The fascists are openly meeting at public libraries, and the police are standing by. In essence, you have law enforcement defending a fascist gathering, and that's, you know, to me, that says everything that you need to know, just real quickly summed up. And it's hard to kind of put it into context where you can kind of understand what's going on. But the long and short of it is that there's you know, there's people meeting at the library, and the people don't want that type of meeting here. And so they came out to tell them, we don't like that kind of meeting here. So that's more or less what's going on, is there's meeting and people who don't want the people meeting. And, you know, I guess it's better if you have a meeting and you at least then you know that that's what you're into. You get together with the other people that's what they're into, and you hang out together and, I don't know, talk about beating your wife or whatever fascists are into. I don't know. And then, you know, at least they have like minds. And I don't know whether I'm proud of that or not. I don't know how to feel about it, but at least there are people with like minds that are here meeting. And so again, I think they have their command team up here on top. I saw the guy with the stripes on his arm up there on top earlier. So that they have like a command team around, the cops do, and then they have people that are basically all around. There's a couple, I think there's like one squad of bicycle cops that I saw a minute ago, and you know, if you're not from Oregon, then you might not know this, but we're in the middle of an opioid crisis here, and especially we're in the middle of a meth crisis. So there's a lot of people here that are, you know, having a real hard time coping with reality. We have really high levels of suicide, and I think we might be last in the country for education. Education is really bad in Oregon. So, you know, if you think about what's happening back there in that context, it gives you a little idea about how something like this could happen. You know, it's happening in an environment that breeds that type of intolerance and hatred, and that's really just the long and short of it. And you know, you can't you can't indoctrinate an educated public into that type of hatred. You know, that's part of the dumbing down of the United States, is that you have to really dumb people down to be able to get them to accept this type of you know, of hatred. That's what it is. The long and short of it is, it's hatred. It's hatred. You know, the Proud Boys are a hate group. They're not here to show any kind of affection or love. They're a hate group. So, you know, I'm not in favor of that. I'm not down with it. So, and there's quite a few folks here who are also not down with it. Public's been real back and forth, trying to enjoy the public library. You know, there's a lot of public that you can tell they're unsure about what's going on. And I've seen a few different people who asked if it's okay if they use the library, or whether the library's open. They're not sure if the library's open. So, you know, the public is really confused about this event, which tells you kind of how good of a job the fascists are doing about, and the media, obviously, are doing about, you know, basically hiding fascism in plain sight. You know, that's the long and short of it, is it's fascism in plain sight. So it's not the type of fascism that's a perfect marriage of corporation and state. It's more the kind that is based on intolerance and xenophobia, transphobia, homophobia, you know, all the type of behaviors that are considered intolerant, you know. Basically, you know, these hate groups, they're based on intolerance. They're based on ethnic cleansing and hatred, and it's just, you know, we already have concentration camps in this country where small children are held in confinement. So if you think about it in that context, in the context of we have existing concentration camps, then it changes the way that the scene looks. Okay? Now, I hate to cast it in that light, but let's just be real clear about it. If there are concentration camps opened here in Salem, who do you think will be guarding them? I mean, that's for me, that's the real bottom line. We have existing concentration camps, and actually there's an ICE facility right here in the Salem area in Kaiser. There's an ICE facility. So just take a look at what some of the folks are saying on here. I haven't been checking the comments very much because there's so much happening here in real life. Yeah, the fascists are definitely enjoying themselves. Don't worry, bro, troll. I'll come through and block you soon enough, but I'm not going to read your comments. I just can't stomach your type of ignorance. Thanks again, Boxing Spider. You're all right. For what it's worth, YouTube takes about 60 cents out of each one of those dollars. So I'll be taking that 60 cents and paying about 37% of that self-employment tax. But you know, that it really means a lot. The thought counts. That means something, and I appreciate it. Hey, and for, you know, for what it's worth, a dollar doesn't go as far as it used to, but for a lot of people that's a lot of money. For some people, a lot of folks don't even have a dollar. So, you know, that means something that you gave me a dollar. Could have done anything with that dollar.
What's the deal?
Oh, there's a hate group like the Nazis or whatever.
In the library?
Yeah, they're having a meeting in here. Well, they rented one of the rooms.
Oh, okay.
So they're talking about like, I don't know,
these are
I have no idea
protesters?
what they're talking about. But then these people don't think that there should be.
They're just in the auditorium here. The library is completely open.
Yeah.
to the
Okay.
public.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
Oh, she gave that cop a little pat. That was loving. All right. So it's still kind of an interesting time here. There's still more fascists coming in all the time. So, you know, it's definitely like a gathering of intolerant people, and it's hard to understand how people could feel good about themselves like that. But I guess, you know, their parents were probably just not very good parents is all I can figure. So, you know, you can't blame the people. You just got to figure their parents weren't good parents is all I can figure. And hopefully they figure it out, you know. Thanks for being here. It's really important.
I work for myself. It's kind of hard to fire myself.
Isn't that a weird feeling to have to be afraid to say what's right?
Yeah, it's because people like you.
Well, I'm trying really hard to keep the camera focused onto the fascists, but
Good for you.
but yeah, Facebook is a snitch, YouTube is a snitch, live streamers are, I get it.
Your mother's a convicted rapist, dude.
Wow.
They're not pro-Nazi.
The library is open.
No, they're not.
The library's completely open.
It is
They're
open.
they're just in the auditorium right now. Be safe. Let people know over here.
Yeah,
because
like
ladies were walking by then and getting ladies and
You know,
Both
trying to be
angles.
proactive.
Yeah.
Also being, you know,
We're not going to the auditorium, thanks.
Just making sure you're safe. Great job for Kevin.
Interesting how there's like this conservation crew over here that are just like stoked to be seeing something happen. I knew that guy was carrying a weapon. Of all the people, I knew that one dude was carrying a weapon. I knew it. I could just tell by the way he's standing. The guy with the knife. The guy who's over there with the anti-fascists that I think is a cop is the bald guy. If you look at the way he's standing with a posture like a cop stands. You can just tell. Like most of the time, if you're an activist, then you show up with the rest of your crew. But that dude has no crew. He's there by himself. Like if you go to a lot of scenes like this, you start to notice stuff like that there are people who are by themselves in the crowd. And a lot of times those are the people who are the cop. Well, a lot of times they wear body armor. So you can see the body armor underneath their shirt. They'll wear like a heavy hoodie or something with body armor underneath. And then they wear their gun here and here. Sometimes down here, but guaranteed there's at least one cop on the side, on each of the sides. Guaranteed. But yeah, I think it's that guy with the beard and the bald head. He's the one that I think is a cop over there. What do you think? I'm not from Salem, so I don't really know who's
Not somebody I know. So.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's funny, there's one troll on my feed that keeps pretending like what I'm saying isn't true. It's really, really funny. I don't understand why people have time to like go to YouTube and hang out and like, I mean, I would get it if I had like thousands of followers or something, like if I was cool, but I'm not that cool. Yeah, if I was cool, then yes, I would get it, but I'm not that cool.
Yeah, that would have sucked.
Makes it easier when they just kill themselves. If you smoke cigarettes and you're a fascist, thank you. This cop's water boy. He gets water for the other cops. That's really nice of him. Wouldn't want the cops to get dehydrated.
Be safe, white nationalists are meeting in the auditorium today. White nationalists are meeting in the auditorium today. Right now.
Right now.
If you see someone filming you, that's get that view.
So for the folks who are just turning in,
They catch people before they stop people.
there's a group of
I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Proud Boys that they think they're pretty cool, and
They're not
they're here spreading their type of nationalist hatred. And basically, you know, the city of Salem, by and large, the city of Salem is pretty intolerant already. So to me, it doesn't surprise me a whole lot to see it. But
It's a white nationalist meeting. A bunch of racists like are hanging out in the auditorium talking about white
Proud
supremacy
Boys
stuff.
over there, they're not the same group, but they keep going.
So
But they claim they are.
we're trying to warn people to make sure they're safe.
Yeah, we don't want
Oh yeah, and at least one convicted rapist is a pedophile.
that guy with the white hair, the one that looks like Santa.
This dude over here.
bro, go eat a Hot Pocket, man. Seriously, get off my feed. What's wrong with you?
At least one of them is a convicted rapist. Oh yeah.
Just for the folks who aren't aware of what's going on, I am not entirely surprised that the one person who went over here to stand against the fascists while they have a cigarette is the native woman. There's all of these other people who could have gone and said something to these fascists while they smoked their cigarette, but the only one who took courage is the native woman. That's why I love native women. I love native women. They have so much courage. They have so much strength. They're way braver than a lot of people. They have survived massive genocide over and over again. So they know you cannot just stand by. This is so typical. Like, here you have all men, a bunch of white men, a bunch of so-called allies with privilege, and they're standing over here while the one native woman goes over and stands by herself. Now, I hope that if there are any allies watching this, that you recognize what's what, you know. The funny part is how uncomfortable this pack of privileged white guys is being made by one native woman. You can see all the discomfort just in their postures.
They were created out of
always there.
They were created out of brought up and put there by the
How did the Aztecs get their empire? Taking down little tribes. Little tiny tribes. Yeah, they did.
They were a little tribe and then they intermarried.
They enslaved people.
They intermarried
They forced sacrifice.
Native people don't have to explain themselves to
What
colonizers.
they deserve. You know why? Because bullies get what bullies
They were
deserve.
sacrificing people.
Native people don't have to explain themselves.
So,
Is that what you think?
We didn't take this part of the country. The Spanish took this part of the country. We
Why would
fought
you
the
say that?
Mexican Empire, who had a tyrant as a dictator, who was striving.
What was actually Mexico before it was United States?
Yeah, Mexico wasn't native. It's Spanish. I think it's Spain.
You know what the word, what is the word Mexico?
In Mexico, there was plenty of people.
Yeah.
These ones that called people who they thought were not European enough were discriminated against. So you just in Mexico, who's discriminated against his own native people.
Yeah, that's bad.
No, yeah, that is. So we took this part of the country from a tyrant, and we bought the Louisiana Purchase. We bought parts of the East Coast. And you know what?
Natives don't talk about facts, bull.
History is important. It's important.
Don't know history.
It is important, though.
I know who you are.
You told me half my son.
especially if they're helping these other crisis, is against whatever regime. Fuck you, man. Fuck her, people. Fuck the tribe. Fuck the tribe. You're gonna leave your tribe. Fuck the tribe. I don't care. Fuck the tribe. I don't care about the tribe, bitch. We're just watching, guys.
These are the financiers or something. I don't know. Maybe they're the money. They don't really look like money, but it's expensive to have a bodyguard like that. It's weird. It's got to be weird to be manipulated by a guy like that.
Oh yeah. Real. Oh yeah. Similar to me saying fuck Russia. It'd be the similar thing. Me saying fuck Russia would be saying fuck that nation.
Right? Yes. When you're a general on the way.
For cigarettes on your last dying day. Now it's pooping.
If Broadway can't bring people together, just look at try rent.
I just know from Alice Cooper.
That Broadway thing talking about that way fuck native people. That's what that's all about. We don't indoctrinate students. That Americans somehow caused a genocide in this country. 90% died of smallpox. Not Americans. The Spanish came over here and took this land by force. Enslaved. Not Americans.
How many cereals did you
The French and the British were actually a lot. The French and the British were actually a lot.
What cereals did you name? It jumped into
It doesn't even matter.
I want to know. Lucky Charms?
Lucky Charms are always been.
I know. Cheerios. Cheerios. Come on, you guys.
I side with Lucky Charms.
So, two guys over here to the right, man.
Are those the financiers or something?
It's comedians.
Comedians?
Yep.
Well, that's funny.
Yeah.
We side with Malto Meal, not GM. Not General Mills,
Is
Malto
it,
Meal.
You know,
Fruit Loops or Fruity Ring? Oh,
No, I don't give a fuck. Do not cereal shit.
they're here for the spotlight.
you got to remember, Malto meal has GMOs in it to give you the leaky gut. It's bad. You could get the leaky gut. You might already have the leaky gut.
Him, right? This is the guy from Lost. Don't you guys remember?
Isn't this Frida Kahlo? With the one eyebrow? Actually, your eyebrow.
That's I'm talking about grass
Well, I hate to say it, but it seems like the anti-fascist crowd's dwindling a little bit. Meanwhile, there's more and more fascists. I mean, there's some coming and going, but
That's fucking gross.
they got weapons for sure. They came for a fight.
Scott carrying a baton.
Yeah, came for a fight.
Walking towards the library with a baton. Do they allow weapons in the library now?
I mean, that's actually a fair point. Like, you're not supposed to bring weapons into the library. You're not supposed to bring weapons into the library. It's not okay to bring weapons in the library.
You know what? With a MAGA hat, he brought the gun to the last one.
You're not supposed to do that. That's a crime. I'm pretty sure that's a crime. I don't think they're supposed to bring those weapons in there. Pretty sure.
That's why they've been hanging out out front.
Oh, they're just hanging out front? Oh. I guess if you're not brandishing a weapon, it's not quite as bad, but I still feel like bringing weapons to this type of event is, well, I mean, you guys can bring weapons, but I don't think that the people who are trying to fight other people should have weapons. That's what I think anyway.
Weapons should not be necessary in a library.
Yeah, I mean, if your ideas need weapons to enforce them, probably not a very good idea. You could get better ideas. On the other hand, I don't think that there's necessarily a vote that has ever eliminated Nazism from power. Like as far as actual fascism goes, voting has never been effective in that way.
Oh, you're out of line. You said fuck your people to a native lady, huh? Yeah, you don't like indigenous people, do you?
I do appreciate you guys tuning in. It's, again, not super exciting, but, you know, the media, mainstream media is not going to be here to cover this sort of thing. Like, they're not here. I haven't seen them. There might be one photographer, but I have seen zero television crews. I've seen zero press badges. I've seen zero media at all. I haven't seen any media. The one media guy that might have been here is that one guy with a really fancy camera, but I think the rest, I don't think there's any media showing up. So I'm not sure how many of you folks have been here for a while, but basically what's going on here is that you have the Proud Boys Willamette Valley branch, and they're having a meeting here at the Salem Public Library. And I'm not sure exactly what they're discussing inside there, but they're having, my guess would be some sort of a, typically hate groups plan violence. So my guess would be that they're probably planning violence. That's what hate groups do. So whether I'm right or not, it's hard to say, but that would be my guess. This same group of people, if I'm not mistaken, were the people who tracked down the medics in Portland and violently attacked the medics. So, this group is predisposed towards violence. They have a record of it. It's not that is not a matter of question. And if you're watching very closely for a while here, you might see that they actually brought weapons. These guys have knives, they have clubs, they have pepper spray. So, they came armed for a fight. And, that's the long and short of it. They're a violent, in my opinion, they're a violent hate group who arrived at a public place with weapons. So, take away what you want from that. So law enforcement's taking a real hands-off approach to this. They just have been, in essence, standing by and observing. They're not really intervening very much, except for when people are kind of getting too close. They're giving a lot of space for free speech as they proclaim it. Man, it takes a lot of donuts to make that cop go. Holy crap. Anyway, a lot of the police here are in decent shape compared to Eugene police. If you're watching Eugene, sorry, your cops are fat. no fat shaming as far as that goes. Like if you have a big bone body, that's how it's got to be. But these guys are getting some overtime. And up here you have the command crew. Appreciate the 13 of you who did tune in, taking the time. I am in Salem, Oregon. Have a relatively small law enforcement presence, but they're definitely here. And then over here you have people who are against fascism. There's, I don't know, maybe 20 people, something like that, a little bit more. And then you have people who are in favor of fascism. So, you know, the Proud Boys are pretty transparent about their hate. They're not, there's nothing unclear about, you know, about their agenda. So you can kind of tell by the makeup of the body politic, to use a polite term, that you know, that it's a largely ethnocentric group. I really don't understand why you guys even bother, because I'm going to come back through and delete your baloney comments. So after you calm down a little bit, go eat a Hot Pocket, ask your mom for some Kool-Aid, and come back and troll some more. But I'm going to delete all your comments and block you. So enjoy your time right now. Hey, if you have a few extra dollars, feel free and send them my way. But you know, you basement dwellers, you really don't get a voice here. And you know, I encourage anyone who's seeing the comments of the trolls, go ahead and block them yourself. In the meantime, I am here in Salem, Oregon. Proud Boys are having a gathering. They are being faced down by anti-fascists, and there are law enforcement basically standing by that they'll intercede as necessary. They see, he's just asking them to. That's the most that they have had to intercede, is just to push people back a little bit. Law enforcement has mostly been letting people have their say. They're just observing for the most part. So. Eugene, they brought in the Bearcat and everything. It was a lot more fun. So yeah, if you guys were watching in Eugene, then in Eugene they brought in the Bearcat and had the heavy armor and the sound cannon and everything. But in Eugene, it's kind of a different environment. Salem, things are a little bit more peaceful in Salem. Eugene is kind of like, it's known for having anarchists, and you know, it's just a little bit different in Salem. So for the folks who follow my channel a lot, you know that I'm always critical of this. So I'll just go ahead and take a moment and critique. this officer is not clean shaven. He is well groomed, but not clean shaven. And I just never feel like that's a professional look for law enforcement. You know, I don't understand it. You guys need a beard policy. You need a beard policy. I'm just saying, it's not I like your look.
That's all I can do. I haven't shaved.
I mean, it's nothing personal. It's just like, in broad terms, I like the law enforcement clean cut policy, the beard. It's just in the past couple of years, the beard's come back in. I don't know if you guys debate that at the union, but I think the beard's just not as professional looking. I mean, it doesn't make any difference to how well you do your job. It's just an opinion. But for you guys, so the guy, he's got a beard. The other guy, he doesn't have a beard. So just real quick, beard yes or beard no? See what you guys are saying. I think they're gonna go with beard yes.
Like a live update, or is
I'll let you know, but
it's not a live feed?
it is. I think most people are pro beard these days. I'm sorry about that, but
Beard policy.
I think it's a clean cut and groomed like that. It looks better than like what I'm doing here. But beard no. But I'm with him. But you are well groomed, and that's the important part. It shows more professionalism. So anyway, another beard no, another no. Yeah, beard no. I can't really grow a beard, so I don't have much of an opinion on it as far as like this. I think this is like 3 weeks for me or something, but other people.
Ooh, lucky you.
You want one too?
All right. Ooh, you guys got twos of them.
All right, high fives.
Give him a high five.
Yeah, you want to take your garbage? I'll take it. High fives. Here, you hold that. And then
High fives. Give him a high five, guys.
All right, awesome.
All right.
See you guys.
Thank you.
That was kind of cute, you guys. These two little kids just got stickers from the cop. That was really cute. I try not to put people's children onto the live feed, so I didn't show you guys, but it was really, really cute. Like the two kids are maybe 4 and 2, and they're cute. They're at that really cute age. I 100% agree, Karen. And, eventually it is becoming more and more normalized, and little kids, that's basically what this type of event does. It really normalizes intolerance, It's, even though I did take the time to come up here, it's honestly, it's not super interesting. I can understand why the mainstream media didn't bother coming down, because they basically come and do this sort of thing for pay, like they're here for their advertisers. So I understand why they didn't come down, but those are really cool necklaces. What are they from?
Marshallese people.
Oh, cool. Oh, they're suffering global warming, huh?
Oh, yeah.
These people just went by with Marshall Islands necklaces. That's pretty cool. Let's see what's going on over there in the comments, you guys. Nobody should be subjected to this crap. Precisely. Don't feed the trolls too much, because there's a couple of trolls in the room that they've been eating Hot Pockets and hanging out in their grandma's basement. So don't feed the trolls too much, but this type of event calls in the trolls. So I encourage folks, if you are reading troll comments on my live feed, go ahead and block them, because you don't need to read that. It's pretty quiet. You can actually hear birds in the trees. That's how, I mean, it's really, as far as conflict goes, it's really pretty peaceful. People are just hanging out, not really yelling at each other too much. Still just the two no's. It's not that interesting to people. It's more interesting to me. A couple of fascists over there having their cigarette. Still got people up here observing, watching the whole thing go down. Which I think it's really funny that it's kind of a spectator sport. There's folks who are just like, this is interesting. You never see something like this happen in Salem. So they're over here just checking it out. And that's basically what I'm doing. I'm just checking it out. So if you just joined in, what's going on? The Proud Boys are having a meeting here at the Salem Public Library. And their meeting was met by anti-fascists who have been largely, non-confrontational. For the most part, they're giving space to the fascists to have their fascists festival. And then it's a white nationalist rally. So that's pretty telling. The police are characterizing this as a free speech rally when it's actually a white nationalist rally. So, well, that's interesting. They're taking a bunch of the donut munchers away. I think it must be time to either change shift or something, but you can see yeah, must be a shift change. I can't remember this guy. Seems like I've seen this guy before. I'm pretty sure I've seen that guy. I'm pretty sure, maybe whether it was on Cops or Police Live, or maybe it was on YouTube, but I feel like I've seen that guy before. Oh, that's my alarm, which tells me I have something else to do that's more important than this. So as much as I hate to end this video, I kind of have to end the video. I will come back online here in about 10, maybe 15 minutes at the most, but I have to go offline. So I do appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, it's pretty quiet here. Like, you can actually hear the hummingbirds flying around. It's that quiet of a rally. But I'm gonna sign off for now. I'll come back on in a few minutes.